Some stories leave behind questions that may never be answered. This is one of them. Her name was Elisa Lam. She was a 21-year-old Canadian student, a bright, sweet girl who loved reading, blogging, writing, and most of all, traveling. She had dreams, big ones. She wanted to see the world, explore cities, meet people, and just live freely for a while. Elisa struggled with bipolar disorder and depression, but she was managing it with medication and her parents' support. They were very close. Her mother and her father loved her deeply. So, before Elisa left for her solo trip to California, she promised her parents she'd call them every night. And at first she did. She arrived in Los Angeles in January 2013 and checked into the Cecil Hotel, a place she likely picked because it was affordable and located in downtown LA. But what Elisa didn't know, or maybe didn't care to check, was that the Cecil Hotel had a dark, horrifying history. Serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Underweger had stayed there. It was known for suicides, murders, overdoses, and other strange, unexplained deaths. Elisa was originally staying in a shared room with strangers, but after a few days, the other guests complained she was acting strange. So the hotel moved her into a private room on the 5th floor. She was still calling her parents daily until one night, the call stopped. A day passed, then another. No word from Elisa, no message, nothing. Her parents panicked. They called the hotel, then the police. They flew down to Los Angeles themselves. The LAPD brought in sniffer dogs to search the hotel from top to bottom. They checked her room, the hallways, the staircases, and even the rooftop. One of the dogs detected her scent from a window that led to the fire escape, but the trail ended there. It was like she vanished into thin air. The police then reviewed the security footage. That's when things got stranger. The footage showed Elisa entering the elevator, but what she did next shocked everybody. She pressed multiple buttons, peeked out into the hallway like someone was chasing her, then quickly jumped back in. She pressed herself against the wall, waved her hands oddly in the air, stepping in and out again, looking confused and scared. It looked like she was hiding from someone or hallucinating. People say she looked possessed. Others say she was having a psychotic episode. The police later revealed that Elisa had a history of bipolar disorder and wasn't taking her medications properly at that time. Now, here's the part that haunted everyone who watched the video. Why didn't the elevator door close? For minutes, Elisa was moving around, stepping in and out, pressing buttons like she was trying to escape, but the door just stayed open. It looked creepy, unnatural, like something was controlling it. But the truth might be simpler than we think. The Cecil Hotel elevators are old, and if you have ever been in an old building, you know those elevators don't work like the new ones. They are slow, delayed, and sensitive to how long someone stays near the door. In fact, when technicians later tested that same elevator, they confirmed the door wasn't broken. Here is likely what happened. Elisa might have pressed multiple buttons, and one of them was the door hold button, a feature that actually keeps the elevator door open for up to 2 minutes. So even though she kept stepping in and out, the elevator was doing exactly what it was told to: stay open. And while she was moving around outside the elevator, peeking around the corner, hiding, stepping back in, it kept sensing her presence, which also delayed the door from closing. But once she walked away completely, no more motions, no commands, no more buttons being pushed, that's when the door finally closed, like normal. It wasn't a ghost, it wasn't a glitch, it was just an old elevator reacting to a very confused and distressed girl, pressing buttons randomly while in a state of panic or psychosis. But when you don't know that part of the story and only see the video, it's easy to believe something supernatural was going on. And maybe that's why this case became one of the internet's most chilling mysteries. But even with that explanation, the question remained, where was she? No one knew. Until 2 weeks later, guests at the Cecil Hotel started complaining about the water. They said the water was dark, had a strange smell, and tasted awful. Some even said it was coming out black with low pressure. The hotel sent a maintenance worker, Santiago Lopez, to check the water tanks on the roof. There were 4 huge tanks, each about 10 feet tall, standing on concrete blocks. Santiago climbed a narrow metal ladder to inspect them. When he got to the last one, he noticed the lid was open. He peeked inside, and what he saw was something he could never forget. Elisa Lam's naked body floating in the dark water. Her clothes and personal clothing were drifting beside her. He ran to call the police immediately. When the investigators arrived, they drained the tank, cut it open from the side, and removed her body. No signs of trauma, no bruises, no drugs in her system. The autopsy said it was accidental drowning, possibly caused by a mental health episode. But here is what still doesn't make sense. First, how did Elisa even got up there? The rooftop was locked and had an alarm on the door. If anyone opened it, the alarm should have gone off, but no one heard it. Second, the water tank lids were heavy and had no ladders inside. How did she lift the lid, climb in, and then closed it behind her? Santiago, the worker who found her, said the lid was open, but the police later claimed it was closed. Which one is true? And why were her clothes off? There were no signs of sexual assault, but people wondered, was someone watching her? Was she being stalked? Did someone follow her to the roof? Or did her mental illness lead her there? To this day, no one knows for sure. And then, there's this question that haunted people for years. Was the water tank lid open when Elisa got in? And more importantly, was it still open when they found her? At first, the maintenance worker, Santiago Lopez, said the lid was already open when he found her. He didn't need to lift anything, he just looked inside and saw her floating. But later, during the official investigation, reports claimed the lid was actually closed when they got there, that it had to be opened again to retrieve her body. This caused a wave of confusion online, because if the lid was closed, how could Elisa have shut it from the inside? There were no ladders in the tank, no way to climb back up, no way to pull the lid shut, so naturally people started to wonder. Did someone else close it after she went in? Did someone push her? Was this really just an accident? But here's what might have really happened. The confusion likely came from simple miscommunication. Santiago said the lid was open when he got there, which makes sense. That's how he saw her inside. But by the time the police and the investigators arrived, it might have been closed again, maybe by Santiago himself for safety or the hotel staff trying to follow protocol. So yes, the lid was found closed later. But that doesn't mean Elisa closed it herself. Most experts believe she couldn't have. The lid was heavy. There was no way to reach it from inside the tank. So if Santiago is telling the truth, and it was open when he found her, then there is a heartbreaking possibility. Elisa climbed in by herself. The lid stayed open. She got stuck, and no one knew until it was too late. Now let's talk about the rooftop, the place where Elisa was found. Authorities said it was locked, off limits. They claimed the only way up was through a door with an alarm, one that could go off if anyone opened it. So how did Elisa get up there without anyone hearing a thing? Well, here is where the rumor starts. Some said the rooftop door was often left unlocked, that people had gone up there before through a back staircase or the fire escape without setting off any alarm. No one really knows for sure, but if the door was truly that easy to access, then there are two possibilities. 1. The alarm door was never armed properly, or the alarm was malfunctioning and Elisa walked right through it without setting it off. Or 2, she climbed out through a fire escape window. There is a known fire escape on the side of the building. It's possible Elisa opened a window from one of the upper floors, climbed out, and scaled a fire escape ladder. Something that is dangerous but not impossible, especially if she was in a manic state, feeling invisible or desperate to get away from something she believed was chasing her. So why officers wanted people to believe the roof was secure and off limits, the truth is, it wasn't. People had gone up there before. It was accessible, and for someone like Elisa, alone, vulnerable, possibly in distress, it might have seemed like a way to escape or just wander. But tragically, what she found up there was the end. Now, here is something you should know. When someone with bipolar disorder stops taking their medication, it can trigger a manic episode. And during mania, the brain doesn't work the way it normally does. People in a manic episode often feel a sudden burst of energy, fearlessness, or even a kind of euphoria like they are unstoppable. But at the same time, their thoughts become racing, confused, and sometimes delusional. They might make impulsive decisions with no regard for danger. They might strip off their clothes, run around, talk to themselves, or climb to dangerous places, thinking it all makes sense in the moment. Some people believed that's what happened to Elisa, that she was having a severe manic or psychotic episode where her mind created a reality that wasn't real. Maybe she thought someone was chasing her. Maybe she believed she needed to hide. Maybe the rooftop felt like an adventure, something she just had to explore. And somehow, she made it up there. It's believed she used the fire escape ladder, avoiding the alarmed rooftop door. She climbed all the way to the top of the Cecil Hotel, alone in the night. There, she found 4 huge water tanks, each one standing tall and cold like silent towers. And for some unknown reason, she climbed up again, up a narrow platform, onto the tank. She somehow managed to lift the heavy lid and climbed in, or the lid might have been open. It was dark, it was cold, the tank was full. Once inside, there was no ladder, no way to climb back out. Maybe she panicked. Maybe she thought it was too late. Maybe she was too weak to swim or scream for help. And as hours passed, the silence swallowed her. When her body was found, her clothes were floating beside her. Some say she removed them to lighten her weight, maybe trying to stay afloat. Others believed it was the result of hypothermia or confusion caused by the mania. To this day, some believe she wasn't alone up there. They think someone might have followed her. Maybe someone who saw her acting strangely in the hotel. Someone who waited for the right moment when no one was around. They wonder, would Elisa have been led to the rooftop, or chased, or maybe even forced? There were no cameras on the roof, no footage, no witnesses, just silence and questions. So even after all these years, some people still ask, was Elisa alone when she died? Or is there more to this story than we will ever know? Elisa's death remains one of the strangest and most mysterious cases ever recorded. She should have gone home, but instead, her story became a nightmare that still haunts the world. She was more than a headline, more than a mystery. Elisa Lam was a daughter, a sister, a dreamer, just a young woman searching for peace in a noisy world. She loved to write, to travel, to feel alive, but her mind wasn't always kind. And in the end, the world failed to understand her pain. May her story remind us to listen, to care, to look closer at the quiet struggles behind every smile. Rest in peace, Elisa. You are not forgotten. What are your thoughts? Was Elisa Lam a victim of her own mind, or did someone follow her that night? Was it a tragic accident, or is there something more that we are still not seeing? Let us know in the comments. If you found this story moving and want more true crime cases told with care and depth, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep these voices alive.